as a matter of fact, it will coincide with the budget that we need to revisit, that I redid based on based on what they asked me for the next time, so.
The recording is started.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. That is something that we're going to also look at this evening. All right, so we are starting our meeting and I have 7:03. Welcome, everyone. We're going to start off by doing, you know, let me add that in the past, we've always done a roll call, but that's not on the agenda. We used to have it on the agenda. Is there a reason why it's not?
It isn't part of the, agenda that we use, notes agenda, so you give a different format, that's not the format that is.
So is that part of the call meeting to order?
Yeah,
Maybe is the
Okay.
attendance?
there's not, these are prescribed for.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but in the past, even with this being prescribed, it was always roll call on it, but it's not here anymore. So I'm just wondering.
I think that's part of the call meeting to order.
Okay. All right, well, we'll go ahead and call meeting to order and we'll have Ms. Stephanie go ahead and do, call of commissioners. Roll call.
Vanessa Westbrook,
Here.
Karen Monroe, Liz Chavez, Brooke Pelafon, Melanie Atkins.
Here.
Michael Lynch.
Here.
Vicky Bridas,
Here.
Colleen Tierney.
All right, thank you very much. And at this point in time, we are going to have citizens' comments. We have no one here this evening. So we're going to go ahead and just bypass citizen comments. There were no emails that came in from any citizens, and we don't have anybody present. So citizens' comments are now closed. We are going to take a look at the minutes that was sent to us earlier as a draft by our secretary. And everybody take a look at that real quick and see if there is any adjustments or anything that you think we need to make changes to, or something we need to correct, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna go ahead and ask for approval of the minutes. I've seen that there are no additions, edits, et cetera. All those in approval of the minutes, say aye. Aye. Okay, any nays? All right then, moving along with the minutes, which are now approved and can be added to the website. We'll move on from there. All right, so let's talk about the chair's report. And the first thing that I have on the chair's report to talk about this evening is the resignation of Liz Chavez. Liz moved out of the area and she submitted her letter of resignation. Now, in the future, I would like to say that I am hoping that what can happen is if someone does decide to resign past their, before their actual time, that we actually treat the resignation as something where you put it, because in my readings, as far as Robert's Rules of Orders are concerned, you do a resignation, you have a 30-day period of time where you put in your resignation and you say, I am resigning on such and such a date, and you give yourself up to 30 days. I say that in regards to, it would have been nice to have had Liz here at this one meeting to be able to thank her for her service and, you know, give a good cheer and that sort of thing. Lots of times things come up and, you know, we have responsibilities and for some reason or another, we need to move on, change, et cetera, et cetera. So I do I am saddened by us not being able to personally tell her, thank you for all you've done. She was a good worker. She tremendously did a lot for us, and she was very quick to, do that design stuff and make posters and flyers and those kind of things like that. And of course, her big project that she had, which was current going on right now, which is over at City Hall, and that is a Cinco de Mayo event, where we're celebrating the art. The next one that she actually has scheduled to do was the Hispanic Heritage, the Peace and Dialogue event that was going to be in, I think we're doing it late September. So, well, anyway, we're going to have to rethink that. So at any rate, with Liz now going, we do have a open position. And then there's a process through which, they make the announcement that we have a spot open. And then there's applications that come in. And then they are looked over by city council, maybe. I'm not quite sure how that works.
Well, actually, I have information on that, so I can share how that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so, in terms of Liz's resignation, first of all, she chose the date that she resigned, I didn't have anything to do with it, so just so you know, it doesn't say anywhere in our, policy of how long the person has to give. I mean, it was something that she chose, but I did not, there was no directive there, so I, don't know why she chose that date, but that was the date that she established. It wasn't established by anybody else except her. So that is something that I think if someone is interested in saying, typically people usually give, like when they know they're leaving, they typically give like 30 days notice of like, I'm leaving or I'm not going to be living in the area. I'm going to be serving for X period of time. But in this case, because, I'm not sure exactly why she chose it to be that day. I don't have that information, but I don't typically, there is nothing in our, ordinances that says when someone gives a resignation, how many days they, need to give, or how many days they can remain on the commission after they leave the area. There's nothing that states that. That was the choice that she made. So I just wanted to make sure that was, clear, because she could come to the last meeting. I don't know why that was her choice. That is, I just want to state that because there's nothing in our ordinance that says anything about that. The other thing is that the process, the position has been posted on our website, and they are promoting it. It'll be up there for 30 days. And then the way that the process works is that, there is a liaison that is in for the city council that was appointed for the Arts Commission. And that person and the city manager and, city liaison will be, on the interview committee. And they just recently, as of January, revised the way that they do appointments, and so this is how it works. So
3 people make the decision, no one has to go and speak with the council?
no, they revised it. Yeah,
That's unique.
yeah, if you want, I can share that, there.
No, we believe you, it just seems, this used to be a very open process, and now it seems very behind closed doors, and it's for citizens, I just want to go on the record.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about how it evolved into being this new policy. I just know that that was how it was, when I just recently, like, in February, had a vacancy on the library board, and that was how we do it. It's actually on our website if you want to look for on the board and commissions of the process.
Okay, so it'll be you, the city manager, and who's the third person?
The city, the liaison with the commission. Is that?
I thought you were the liaison.
So the city council
It's a city
liaison.
council.
Oh, the city council.
The city council liaison.
So is that just
that,
city council?
yeah, the Forest Hill is the liaison for the Arts Commission for interview purposes. And then it would be, city manager, or the designee, whether it be the assistant city manager, and then it's also, the liaisons, the staff liaison. So, I mean, it was established, I can send that to you guys and show you the, but anyway, so the other thing that the city secretary shared with me, were the minutes from the meeting when this commission was established. And so it states what people's, terms are, like what the terms are for this position, because, apparently we didn't have on the website the seats, like, I guess there's a seat for each position. And so, she shared the information with me about which seat each member was, appointed in, and whether it was an artist, citizen, or a business representative, and then how those terms are. So I, put that on the website because I needed to know that when I looked at when Liz's, seat was expiring. And, so I need to know that in terms of like, to how long this position, whoever is appointed in this position, how long they will, be filling in. So, so that is, how that would be, it takes like, you know, the listing will be up there for 30 days. And then once the listing is down, and once 30 days is up, they'll go through the applications, and then they'll invite people for interviews with that committee, and then they'll be appointed.
So will those interviews be, public in the sense where there'll be somebody transcribing, so it can be seen, or they got that posted? Yeah.
They're not, no, they weren't public.
Well, that's interesting because now I've been around here for a long time. And one of the issues that occurred prior to this new process, not just the one in January, but before that, was that there wasn't a distinct way of getting people to a point where you would be interviewed. As a matter of fact, city council talked about it for almost 4 months on how irregular it was. And the idea was that it was set up so that when you came on and when we came on, the idea was that the people who had submitted applications would be brought before a special meeting or during city council. They would be having discussion, basically be able to say something, not say something, etc. And then they would go through the motions of then voting on that person. And that made it more, what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent for the public to be able to interact with. And now we switch back to 3 people, including not one person that is on that actual board or commission, deciding who's gonna next be the person on that, man, all I got to say is, we had a lot of people come before city council to complain about the previous process, and now we've gone back to the process, and we're gonna start the same thing all over again. I don't quite get that, but okay. I've got more questions, but I think I need to get some more answers. Here's the next thing. We did know who board members, who commission members were. We did know what seat they were in, and we also knew their role, whether they were a citizen or artist, etc. We knew that. What had not been determined yet was how long each of these seats would serve. That was not established. We were supposed to do that as the board and commission, which was something on our list of things to do. So where this list came from in regards to who got what term and how long they're going to be on, I would like to know who made that decision again. And I'm assuming it's the same group that decided 3 people are going to decide who comes on this board next. Yeah, so anywho, okay. So with that in mind, we've got a vacancy. Now, what I'm seeing here is that the vacancy that we have now, which is a C5, and it is supposed to be ending September the 30th, 2023. Meaning that if someone is appointed to the board, to this commission in the next month or two, they're gonna have a very quick turnaround, and then they're gonna have to go again. Now, last I heard, when I was reading through all of the materials and whatnot about boards and commissions, it was that, the person comes on, and when it is time for you to be up, because your term is up, you can basically reapply and also say to the chair, I'd like to continue this role. Because last I checked, there wasn't a time limit, right? We just had the Parks and Board Chair at City Council meeting on Tuesday said she's had 5 terms. She's giving it up now because she's got to pursue something else. So if that's the case, the idea is that when your time is up, you can say, I would like to continue on. Now, I would love to be able to know, has that changed? And I'm actually just somewhat dismayed because all of these decisions have been made, but nobody sent anything to us saying, okay, here's the new rules. So,
I don't know
anyway.
there's anything about term limits in the guidelines
There
for
is
this
none.
commission.
That's,
So I'm the most recent appointee,
Yeah.
and I did it in September.
Right.
And I went, I spoke before the board, spoke for the council, asked questions by the council. It was open conversation and debate. They openly voted to appoint me as well as all the other board members they appointed that day. At no point did anybody discuss term limits or anything like that.
there were none,
And it
and
was not in the application process. The seat name was, and
Yes.
when the seat representative was, because your application needed to match.
So,
Like that.
so we have the municipal code, which is, available if you just look up Title Texas Municipal Code, it's on the web. That is what determines all of the things that, happen in boards and commissions. So the municipal code and all the boards and commissions have the same, definition. So if you, it does say, and, I'm familiarizing myself with this as well. It says term appointment, no more than may be reappointed for two more terms. So it is, so your original term, then 2 more terms. So that would be, if you're a 2-year term person, then that would be 6 years. And then if you're, because you're appointed for that initial term and then 2 more terms. So it does, in the municipal code, it does say there are terms, and this is for all boards and commissions. This isn't,
I get you.
yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out why is it that the chair of the Parks Board at the meeting on Tuesday saying that she's finishing her 5th term.
That's a good question.
And it said something,
It might be 50.
She said 5th term, I asked her afterwards. And I know her, that she's been on it for five terms. She's been around, I've been around here that long.
Well,
So,
it could be the Parks Board, I will say, is, the municipal code that is established, the way it's established right now is that, there are a few, and library is one of them, parks might be one of them, that, the board is actually under library by itself, and parks is under parks by itself,
right,
not under boards. And like right now, we're working with our attorneys to have the, library board be put under boards, because right now it's under library, not board, and it all says different things. Like the terms are different, so it could be possible that the parks
Yeah,
board.
they might have
doesn't
specific
terms,
rules.
Because the parks board isn't under boards and commissions, it's under parks.
yeah, just like the ethics. Several of them are like that.
Right,
The
so.
Parks and Zoning, they're also very different, so in
So
regards to
it could
what
be,
they do.
but arts and culture is under.
Doesn't have its own specific.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And they actually should all be under boards, and actually, we're working with the city secretary and the attorney right now to get all boards under boards and commissions in the municipal code. But as of right now, we have to operate the way they are and not the way they will be when we change that. So I'm not sure about board and parks, but it's very possible that there is not term limits there, because I know that parks is under, the board is under itself and not under boards and commissions.
Okay, I still got a lot more questions to ask, but I'll go, that's with another group. All right,
So I just need to, do one other thing about, just the process of, creating our agendas and things. We are, going to be having a new city manager and, he is going to be, making sure we're all kind of following all our protocols and stuff. And one of the things that I have not established with our commission here that is, that needs to be, is that we need to get all the things that accompany our agenda as part of the agenda prior to, so if you have any additions, it needs to be part of the agenda packet.
Mhm.
Because the point of having it go up, 72 hours before is that whoever comes to the meeting, can see all that we're gonna discuss, so all the material has to be back up. So, I just didn't, I know we've kind of been doing it this way, but we really need to get in the habit of having, so every bit of backup that we need that's gonna be, except if it's just notes, like if it's something that's just your speaking points for, an event or something, that's fine, but like, basically it's for the public, if anyone wants to see it before a meeting, that they can see it before the meeting. So we just need to make sure that all of that is in, to be prior to posting the agenda.
So, I think that's great. I mean, there's no problem with that. We just need to be told what date that is each month. When you-
Yes, it's the Monday, the
Yeah.
Monday prior to this meeting by 7 PM.
yeah, which is why I always ask you for things the Monday before that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? So the Monday before that, I send you an email saying, is there anything you want to add to the agenda? At which time, because if I'm taking, for instance, these MLK celebrations, this is basically Stephanie's notes about what she think we ought to be doing to discuss, right? If we take a look at, the festival stuff that Tara sent, again, this is notes. We said, Tara, bring us some notes and we decide what goes where. I think the only exception to the rule could possibly be, well, I'm thinking these are notes too.
so that if it's budget, it needs to be, so the notes are fine, but if it's budget related, if it's the minutes, if it's,
Basically, anything that you're gonna be giving as a handout that's informational needs to be in the packet. If it's just for you to jog your memory that you can read from, you don't have to put that in the packet. But anything that's gonna be passed out, the public wants to be able to see that.
it's just part of the agenda and it's part of the official document that is, held in Novus Agenda, which is the program that creates our,
I don't recommend having hundreds of pages for ours, but
yeah.
So last time we had a budget meeting, and I came with a tentative budget. That could have been something that should have been added to the packet.
yeah, exactly.
This, what we have right here are notes. Nothing for the most part has changed on this, other than I'm going to tell you about some of the notes and why I think these notes are necessary, because we will ask for them next time. So this might be something for our next meeting to talk about in regards to editedness, for the reason that while I was giving the presentation on the budget, they asked for some additional things to be in here. And so this is something for us to work with, and of course, the one that we'll look at the next time, because the next meeting is not until July. So we'll have a June meeting to be able to look at that next budget to make determination of what needs to be on it. Okay, so I get that, what you're saying about, what we need to have as part of the packet. Okay. All right,
Also, I just want another mention that like one of the roles of the city liaison is to, make sure that make sure that we are complying with all of these things that are part of our ordinances and part of our, the codes and proper procedures. And so, that's just one thing that and that's one of my rules, and that's why I'm the one that like puts the agenda together in the program that we use citywide and things like that. So it's really more, just, to make sure that we're following all the, protocols. I mean, because not every, commissioner or board member should be expected to know these things that are on the kind of city staff kind of management tools. Because as it changes, we can always be, as members change, we can always be sure that we're following all of the requirements. And that's kind of the purpose of having a staff liaison.
I don't think anybody is disagreeing that we should provide the material.
I just want to clarify, because I think, as I learn that, how this commission is working, I'm just learning about where I need to insert the protocols and where, what my role is more than, yeah, because I'm on another board too, and it runs, differently, but it's just, different people and different personalities, and it's just different, so.
I think that's the beauty of the board.
Absolutely.
Especially when it's citizen representation, and
Yeah.
it's not my voice here on the board, it's my voice representing as many neighbors
Yeah.
as I possibly can and other citizens of Kyle. So I believe that when we're in this room, it shouldn't be about personal agendas or personal battles or I own this event or it's this. It should be about what's best for the city of Kyle and how we work through that. And I just think the conflict and disagreements and resolutions were all part of that process.
I totally agree.
And let me add this other thing, and that is that the Arts and Cultural Commission, from the very beginning, we're told this works a little bit differently than the others. All of the other boards and commissions fit under a department, right? There is a library department, there is a library board. There is an ethics department under human resources, there's an ethics board. We're the group that kind of stands out because we're not under, per se, a arts department, right? There's several things going on here. And that question actually came up at the meeting that we last had, was that, where do they fit? We kind of don't fit any place, but then we kind of fit in every place at the exact same time. And so I think that's something for us to kind of keep in mind. And, we're the group that gets a budget. We were told you're getting a budget. Okay, how much are we getting? We'll let you know the 1st of October. When did we find out? The 1st of October, that we were getting a budget. And we knew that. And they said others, boards and commissions are not getting budgets, but you guys are getting budgets. Oh, by the way, you need a budget for this next time. Thus is what we went through the process to try to put together a budget. I think we did a pretty good job of it. Actually, $5,000 less than what they gave us last year, doing 8 more things, by the way. So with that said, we work a little bit differently. And as I was listening to the library board chair, it was the Parks and Rec chair, talk about what all activities they were doing. They didn't have to do a budget because the Parks and Rec has a budget and they got staff. All they have to do is just kind of lead and advise. We're a little bit different than that. And I think originally from the setup and talking to the council folks who were involved in setting up the arts and culture, that's exactly what they wanted. And that's what is listed in the documentation that we were given when we first came on. So until I get something new, all I can do is use the documentation that we were given when we first came on. So
I love that you're checked that the city staff is charged with making sure we share information. It comes from city council and from my boss. So I would appreciate if my words and what I translate to the group from city council and from my boss, the city manager, does carry some weight, because I work here, I'm here every day, I attend meetings, I meet with different people in city council and on the city staff, and so it isn't that you have to rely on city council to hear what is asked of, or what the regulations are. That's part of the role of the city, of the staff liaison, is that we represent and we share what is.
And we absolutely appreciate that. We appreciate that you do that. And as a commission member, yes, I can do that. As a citizen of Kyle, I would have a right to question, like specifically, when we go back to this conversation about how
Mhm.
members reach out, I said, well, I'm gonna go do my research because as a citizen with a lot of other boards and appointments that determine how great my quality of living is here in Kyle, I want to know, I want to understand. So I do think, we definitely appreciate what you do, and we understand that what you're bringing to us is what you were being told, and it's the most accurate information at that time. And I appreciate that. But as a citizen, I do feel as if I have a right to question it, and I also have a right to do the research for myself outside of here. So I think it works.
Yeah, and it is, Michael and I are staff to the commission, so we're not, our role isn't to do just creating things or printing things or purchasing things. Our role is experts on city government too. So that, I just want to clarify that because I'm not sure that that's always coming across. And so when the information that I give, whether it's accurate or not accurate, often has to do with the information that I'm given, because this is a new board and things have changed drastically, dramatically from week to week. And the answers that I get are not always, the same. And they say, oh, well, we'll do it this way, we'll do it that way. So that doesn't necessarily have to represent my credibility as a city liaison. That represents a city government that is adjusting, having a new arts and cultural commission, and they haven't done it before.
And honestly, I don't think anyone doubts your credibility or your knowledge, or either one of you is representatives of the city with all their knowledge of the city. But again, as a citizen, I have a right to question.
Yeah, and I think those criticisms and questions should definitely be brought up to the city council, right? Because ultimately, it's the city council who has appointed the members of this board. So I definitely think those concerns should be brought up.
And I think, the idea of, I'm well aware of the role of the liaison in regards to being the person that's connected to the city. There's a question, we ask you, you go find out. You come back and you tell us. That's how I've been working and still working. We got a question we gotta talk about a reception later on. I didn't call somebody else and ask them. I said, hey, can you find out about, then you come back and you give us an answer. So just for a point of clarification, because when you said what you said a minute ago, you said your credibility, something else you said, I was like, well, now, wait a minute, let's be clear. We're not questioning what your role is, because I do think it needs to be cleared up a little bit. And perhaps we have members here who needed to hear that you're not the gopher for us, right? That's not the thing. We come up with postcards and we say, hey, Colleen, can you find out how much these cost? Because you're going to be paying for them out of our budget. And so you're not going to create the postcard, but you're going to find out how much it costs to print them and then whether we should. And come back. That's what I see your role is. Not saying, hey, we need a postcard. Can y'all make us one? That's not how that works. So we get that. That's work we have to do per se. But I do believe that the Arts and Cultural Commission is kind of a different animal. And I've always said to my graduate level students, you never do something brand new, right? You have something that you've been doing and then something that you're going to do. We've got a new commission, we've got a new liaison, we've got a new set of guidelines. Everything was new.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's going to be some hiccups there. Oh, wait, that doesn't work. We're going to do it this way.
Mhm.
You never do anything like that. And that's exactly what we've been doing.
We also are gonna have a new city manager, we potentially could have a new mayor, we potentially could have new city councilors, and so that's the thing that we have to be prepared for on a commission or a board, is that even what we get used to now
May change.
Right.
And change would be good.
And change can be good, as long as we know that it's changed.
Yeah.
And again, as long as we get a document telling us here's what we need to do, and until we get a new document,
Yeah, and
We
I
just
can
do what we
print
need
it
to
out
do.
so I can give it to you guys before we go.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's really just what I wanted to clarify and make sure that we're all on the same page with that, and that's really, and I'm following directions about how we do openings and all this kind of stuff. So please know that is those are my directives, so please, if you have concerns with the process or whatever, you can vocalize that with city council or whatever, but, that's just where it stands. So I don't really need to add anything else about that, but.
yeah, because you lost me on that last piece. Okay, all right. All right, so we've got through the process, we're in the motions now. I guess the big thing is that when we start, recruiting, talking to friends or whoever the case may be about putting an application to join the Arts and Cultural Commission. That, as far as we know, we've got one spot open now. Now, I did also want to say on the record, this is an opportunity if anybody thinks that they're want to get off. This is a good time to do that, to say, you know what, I'm supposed to be on this long, but I want to get off now. We've been on a year, we've been doing this a year, not a fiscal year yet, but we've been here a year because we were appointed in April. We had our first meeting in June. And so now's the time, if you want to say, thank you, but, I've got some other things to do, now's the time to do that, because while they're doing this process, they can go ahead and open it for two, if the case may be. So, put that in your head and think about that, and the quicker that you let us know, and I'm asking that you let me, the chair, know that if you would like to, move on, or if you want to resign, or whatever it is that you want to do, now's the time to do that, because we're getting ready to do this process, right? And so kind of be advantageous to try to do the process every month, because every month somebody is leaving, but do it in one clump at a time. So just kind of thinking, so just kind of keep that in mind as we move on. All right, so I'm going on now on down the next bullet. I did do a presentation to city council and staff for our budget. And with that in mind, they basically wanted us to give them a little bit more information about some of the things that we have listed on the budget. And things such as we had cultural events. And we decided we were gonna put cultural events at $15,000. I don't remember what the original number was. Yeah, I have it right here. The original number that we went with cultural events was $8,000. And after discussion, we bumped it up to 15,000 because somebody mentioned, you know what, we just paid for that dance company to come in. That was $4,000. We got some other things, so we made a legitimacy as to why we wanted to change it, so it's $15,000, and that's what we did. Now, they asked, at the first, workshop meeting, what did we mean by cultural events? Because I just put cultural events, I was very general in stating, here's what we need, here's how much money they need. They wanted more information for that. We weren't the only ones that did that too. Some of the departments were asking for additional staff. They wanted to know specifically what was that staff gonna be doing, why they had this salary set up for them. And I said, okay, so when you look on number 5 on the second page, basically, we talked about these things. The only thing that was different, and a couple of you sent me something that evening or the next day after our meeting, say, oh, would you add this to the budget, which is why you'll see something else added, but it didn't change the money. That's the big thing. And so, for instance, you added one, yes, you added one Pride Day, Pride Month, which would be under cultural awareness. Again, we didn't change the amount of money. We spelled out a little bit more what the activity was.
So can I ask a couple questions about this one? The first one is, so I see the $5,000 for the community year, and that's what we had already previously discussed. And we
Talked about that.
the back.
Yep.
One, where is our community art festival? So if we're going to the effort from our festival this summer that we want to become a yearly event, that's not on here. And then where did this musical event at the amphitheater?
I added the musical event to the amphitheater, and nothing was submitted to me about an art festival. Remember I said that whatever you put on here, let me know, I would definitely add it, and what you did, right? And I didn't get anything on an art festival coming in to me. So, not, but we have to go back with this again in July. So now you open up something for discussion that we may have to go back and talk about, which we'll be able to do, since the person that's technically involved with the art festival, you're a co-chair also, but it'll probably be both of you here to talk about whether that needs to be added or not. So certainly something we can do. So that was mine, was the music festival at the amphitheater, and I'll tell you why I did that in just a second. That was number 8. The rest of it, pretty most part changes, did change a little bit, and that was the MLK celebration. Stephanie asked to change her amount to $1,000, which you can see that's what we had. Originally, it wasn't. It was,
It was 500.
it was 500. She had $500 more to, and she justified by giving us some of her notes as to why she wanted to change it to $1,000. That's what we have before us here. It still came out to be, we were at, I think our total was $61,000, and we actually nudged it down to $60,000. What we did is we added, for the, like I said, an event to a category, but didn't necessarily change the money for the most part. So as you take a look at that, we asked for $200 for the float, that didn't change. MLK added $200 to what she originally at, well, $500, I'm sorry. The musical event at the amphitheater, I actually, the reason why I added that one was because I wanted us to be able to show city council that we're able to use facilities that they already have on the books. The amphitheater is gonna be there. What better way than the Arts and Cultural Commission to bring some kind of music venue to a established place that's gonna be up and ready and ready to go? We get, yeah. And we wouldn't be the only place. I'm pretty sure that Parks might come up with something also, because this event that they're doing over the next 3 days, they have bands coming. So, but that's how, and you know, what does that music venue look like? I don't know. It was $2,000. So that's why I added it. At some point, if somebody said, well, let's leave that one off, I'm welcome to do that. But I did want to have on this budget that we had 2 opportunities that new amphitheater would be used by us. So that's why that's there. So as you can look at each of these, for the most part, I just put some meat with the skeleton. But
Where we got art boxes that we.
that's gonna be, 2 art pieces around the city, $30,000. That's what that is. Whether,
We're spending 30,000 on these boxes,
well,
anything. We're spending 30,000 on
Yes.
permanent art.
yes, I don't know whether or not we truly came up with the idea that we were using art boxes. That we were supposed to get more information about art boxes,
Okay.
right? And we asked her who already has done one, give us some examples, what they look like. We may say, yeah, we want art boxes, but they're gonna look a lot different. But the idea is that it's art pieces around the city of Kyle, and we talked about $10,000 for 3 of them, which is $30,000. Okay.
Do we need to clarify them? Because it says 3 pieces.
Three pieces, commission 3 pieces in 3 areas. So
So-
pieces.
I think
So like boxes are 1 piece individually?
Yeah,
Or,
it'd be 1 each.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I might want to say projects.
Projects as opposed to pieces?
Yeah, because pieces, I think implies like 3 individual. Yeah, because that way you say one of the projects is all these art boxes.
Right.
And to say, commission, I would commission up to 3 projects. Because what if we find something that's phenomenal, like it's our budget, and
Okay.
that would fit for one.
All right.
So commission up to 3 projects that will be permanent structures.
Okay, permanent structures, got that.
Can I just ask a clarifying question about that? The $30,000 from this fiscal year that we were talking about doing 3 different pieces in these locations, that's different than this, right?
Uh-huh,
That's,
uh-huh.
okay, that's.
We're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Okay, okay.
We're talking, yeah, we're talking about that $25,000 for a thing, a permanent thing, that we're gonna try to get up and moving now, like in the next couple of months,
Right.
and that kind of
Make
thing.
sure we-
Yeah, this is something different.
Okay, all we have to do for the one that's this fiscal year is have it paid for by the end of fiscal year. I mean,
Right,
we just
that
have
is
to
correct.
pay
Right,
for it order.
Right, because they design, getting it put up, all that kind of stuff like that, yeah.
And we even have a PO established,
Mhm,
Okay.
that, like holding that money,
right,
then it may not even have to be that we've cut the check during this fiscal year.
That is okay.
We just have a PO,
yeah.
that's enough.
Like a contract with the, whoever we commission or something like that, yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking,
Yeah,
yeah.
So another thing to think about, since we're revisiting this budget and we've got the Arts Festival. Does it make sense to think about pairing with Parks and Rec next year when they do the fair again to have, like, does it make sense to pool our money left? I mean, I know it's not a detailed conversation right now, but I'm just looking at what we have. So are we adding it as a standalone? I think it could function as a standalone. I mean, I look at Buda and Buda's got a.
The art festival?
Yes.
What you're saying? Yeah,
Yes, I mean, Buda's got an event every weekend that pulls people
right,
from all over the area. So I think we could support it, but I don't know, I just don't want us to lose out on asking for the funding for something that's unique to us.
okay. Well, yeah, you said that that's not on here and it needs to be for the most part, so I agree. Okay, so with that in mind, everybody clear though, the art pieces, and we can put art pieces around the city of Kyle, the commission up to 3 projects in 3 areas of the city.
I agree, I take pieces out, because that's.
We did, I did.
Okay, so-
Commission up to 3 permanent projects. How about that? Commission up to 3 permanent projects in 3 areas of the city. Okay, all right. So that helps with that language just a little bit more. But it does say art pieces around the city of Kyle. Do you want me to change pieces and just change it to art? Art, okay. All right, got it. Okay. Okay. The art exhibition in Kyle Public Spaces, $800 is what we talked about. And that's when we're talking about like the exhibit that we have now at City Hall. But, it'd be great if we could work with the library to get something here for a couple of months or something like that. And people could come into the library just to see these art pieces, because you mentioned that before, that
well,
there's
it's about
spaces.
the, our panels so that it would be easy, we're planning on having more art.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
And we bought brackets and wire for City Hall. And we did that so that when we put up the depot pictures, it's all set. We'll take Anna's stuff down, put the new stuff on. But that costs money, and so we took that money out of our budget. And not only, we would like to help if we needed to get any extra brackets or I call it art wire or something like that. We can say, here, we're buying this for you, library, put up these pieces. How many pieces can we get up? I'm also thinking of, what if we could even do something like that at the new safety center? Right?
Oh, that's a whole nother.
Yes, ma'am. And it'll be up and running pretty soon. And so how will we hang art up? We now have a budget to go figure out how to do that. We'll have to get facilities in there with us, and they may already have a plan, I don't know. But I'm thinking of it when we did it at the government center for the county, they already had the panels up. We just had to buy the brackets and the wires to put on. So that's where we're going with that. And if somebody has a bright idea of another place, let's do it. But we got at least those 3 now. 1, we got possibility of the library, and the third one would be the safety center overall. Okay, so that's where we were going with that, but now, I did mention too that these for the most part are ballpark figures that everybody gave. Everybody said, well, here's how much I think this is gonna cost. Some things we know how much they're gonna cost because we've already done something with it. And so we said, you know what, maybe not as much as we thought. The art reception, for instance, we put in 3,000, I think we used 2, if that much. So we had money kind of left over. And then I also have this set up that if they say, okay, we're gonna cut this down a little bit more, we got some wiggle room. Is my thinking, and I'm sure everybody else thought the same thing as they started submitting, their different projects that they wanted to do overall for us to look at as a commission. We knocked down the theater to 5,000. We don't need a venue now. We just gotta get the stuff to have the event, or get the troupe in here to do it, whichever the case may be. All right, when you go to number 5, all of these we've talked about already. Now, council member, Tobias said something interesting. He said about applying for grants, for some of this stuff. I do know that the Texas Humanities Grant, I was actually looking at the federal humanities grant, but they told me to look at the Texas one first. They give up to $20,000 for cultural type activities. And like the first thing that popped up at me was that Indigenous People Day of doing something. And what I did is when I went to the website and I looked at it, I noticed that San Marcos got $20,000 to do a powwow this October. And I was like, wow, I don't know if we're gonna do a powwow. That may sound like a Parks and Rec thing, more so than us because of the space that's needed, but something, you can get up to $20,000. And the date for the proposal is in August. So we got a little time, yeah. You send a letter of intent first, and then you send your actual proposal to them. And like I said, I was told about federal humanities, because I know somebody who works there, who told me to go to the state one first. And I said, okay. Anyway, so I think one thing that we need to just kind of take a look at here was adding the art festival. Because we're gonna put so much time and energy into it. But you know, one thing I do wanna say is that looking at this event that we're gonna have this week, tomorrow through Saturday, I'm interested to see what that looks like. And whether or not that might be a joint venture type thing or a standalone. I don't know the answer to that until I see this thing coming up. I do know this thing is happening in May, and the one we're proposing is in September. So that's 2 different times.
See, that's what I love here, they have to look into the summer. One happens before summer starts, one happens after.
Towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think the more awareness we bring to Kyle as a destination and not just a stop to get gas and now eat burrito. I think that's important, because people live here and families down here, I'd like to have families to do in Kyle versus having to go.
Okay, so with that in mind,
Just take, I felt.
I'm gonna say-
it from this year, it's.
stick it in there. I was just about to ask that. Do we make a number 9 and go ahead and put the art festival? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think he also has Pie in the Sky, which is in too. I
Yeah.
remember that meeting.
It's the beginning of September, I wanna
It's
say.
Labor Day.
Labor Day weekend, you all right.
Yeah, we're at the end.
We're at the end. We're the last Saturday of the month.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, because that's over at Greg Clark Park, and it's a little bit different in how it's maneuvered compared to what we're trying to do. So, but that would be 2 events going on in September, major ones, Pie in the Sky at the beginning, and then the art festival at the
We're the
end.
fastest growing county. One of them, so I don't think that's the problem. And we all know the limits of Texas, there are only so many months out of the year that you can be outside.
So number 9, we do, we add the art festival. Now, we put on our current budget for the art festival, we had, I don't remember what I bought. I'm gonna have to look up what the old one
What
was.
is this one? We move money from the
theater event.
Okay, that's gonna move us up to our budget up to $80,000.
All they can do is say no.
Okay.
All they can do is say no, and we can approve it.
Right.
We can take, they said they want to offer guidance, so they can offer guidance on which ones are, but, we can bring them recommendations, and they can offer guidance back on what they feel is.
They like it, what they don't like. So do we want to go with the 20? We want to go with 20,000? Okay. So we got the art festival is our number 9 activity, and this needs some verbiage. We'll look at this again at the next meeting, since this is not due until July. And that sort of thing, and I'll make some changes to the verbiage of it. What?
Our quarterly artist meeting, that you talked about. And
Wasn't it like 300 for each or something? like
yeah,
that?
so we're gonna do the full, I believe, to start.
Dang it, I'm sorry, I literally forgot that one, and that was on my notes. So that would be number 10, and that was the quarterly
Yeah, we were gonna ask 1,200 a year.
1,200.
Yes,
Okay.
it was quarterly, not, we were gonna call it reception, we were gonna call it like a local artist event. or-
Artist meet and greet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. That sounds about
But she
right.
built it, it's very nice.
Let me just, say that they did not, the finance office did not tell me what we needed to do for the second submission of the budget, but I'm looking at the one that I got for the library budget, and I have to get it back to them by May 31st. I will find out like my revisions and
Yeah.
stuff, so I'm guessing that that deadline might be the same. They
Okay.
didn't specify our commission, but I'm just thinking right now that that deadline could, so my point is that we probably should try to get finalized as much as possible at this meeting, because we might not have another meeting to
Yeah,
discuss. Because I just
Good point.
thought of that. I know you said, I heard you say we don't have until July, but all the work that they do ahead of time is like, it's pretty much like done. By. So I'm thinking that maybe, whatever we propose as a revision, I'll find out from Professor. I'll ask him
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay,
And I'll find out if the Arts Commission doesn't May 31st, all of those. Because that's what this one is,
okay.
but,
Now, one of the things that I did is, these are notes, right?
right,
But what I did is I just put them number 1, number 2, number 3, like everybody else's was.
yeah,
And then, of course, they said, give us some more details,
yeah.
right? How is that gonna work out?
Okay, so,
Should I give an addendum, put number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then a second page, and then have a description for what number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 is?
okay, so, see, it's so different, like my library budget, versus this budget, like totally different, like, there's different. Ours is one line item, we use the same number for everything, so I'm not really exactly sure, but so whatever format you do it in, just, it's fine, just make sure there's description, that's what I'm saying, and, so that we can speak to it, so just, I don't want to spend more time on this than we need to, but I will find out tomorrow
Yeah.
if our commission
And
has
just
the,
call me in and say, come meet, and we can sit down and do what we need to do. I'll bring my computer,
okay.
and we can fix it.
Yep, it just popped into my mind
Okay.
because that's my deadline for library, and I think we might have some deadline on that, too,
Okay.
so.
Because right now we got 10 things. We've added.
It's locking up.
We've got 10 things, we've got 8 things we added to the art festival and money, and the quarterly meet and greet for artists meet and greet is the other with $1,200. Those are the 2 things we've added, right? So, I mean, we're technically done with this. I just need to know what more I need, and I can literally do like everybody else had, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then page 2 would be, number 1, here's more of a description. Number 2, here's more of a description. Because I did what I thought I was supposed to do,
No, what you did was fine.
And then they asked for, no, you need more, okay, they didn't tell me
Yeah,
that.
no, but
So,
that's kind of how it works.
Okay.
It's always like that. Don't
Okay.
take it personally.
Oh, I didn't- no, no,
That's kind
no,
of what it
yeah,
was.
okay.
Yeah.
Are they gonna need more detail on these cultural awareness activities, events, programs? Or
No.
just enough that we've identified?
we identified, only thing I gave them, it said cultural awareness,
Okay,
activities, events, program, that's all I put.
Okay.
Right, I didn't get into details about Juneteenth, I didn't do all that. So this is what they asked for, right, because one of the city council people said, well, what are y'all doing for Fourth of July? And I was like, well, that's the parks people, they're doing something for Fourth of July, that's not us. Right, so anyway, that's how that went. So I now have listed under cultural awareness, here's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that we are planning to do in the big scheme of things.
then I'm good with the recommended.
Yeah, I think as long as they have some idea of what you mean
Yeah.
by these things, I think that's probably enough. And then they'll ask you for more, and they'll probably ask you for more anyways.
Right,
But just, that's because of like the auctioneer kind of way it works.
I get it. So that's why, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, then we're done with this one. I'll fix it up and send it to everybody. Colleen, you let me know if I didn't come sit with you, Will, I can. And then we can send it to everybody so they can just see it, because now we just added 2 more things and I'll have a description for the art.
That's just that done, right now.
Okay. Cool. All right,
Yeah.
huh?
We're still.
Yeah, we've been here an hour early.
Yeah, we are. But we are done with number 1.
Okay, great, so.
All right, so number 2, Cinco de Mayo is going well. Got some good feedback. We're taking it down on the, what is this, May 31st. And that's pretty much it. We take it down and we're ready to put up the next stuff on the 2nd, which will be that Friday. So that was quick. Here's the next question, number 3, the QR code for the reception and storage. I asked Liz to pass that on.
She sent it to me.
Did she? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't get any explanation. I was looking through my emails and all I got was links to both of them.
Okay,
So I have them. I don't know how we access them other than just Google Forms and I can go.
supposedly you might have been one of the administrators, so you could go into it with your email address.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
That's what I
take a
asked her for.
closer- So I'll take a closer look at that. It does appear that what she's done is created a form and she's hand copied the information over. There's got to be a much better way to do that and a much better way to create a database. And so I would probably, Colleen and I'll probably look to y'all to see what the city does in terms of storing information, because I also, and I noticed this last time, I'm a huge concern when we're collecting information. We need to be able to say that we're keeping it safe.
Yeah.
And we also, I'm not gonna publish this information until we reached out to these folks and made sure that they know that it's going to be made public. So it's great that we have this and I think we can certainly email them, blind copy. email
But
them,
not
and
have
they
it get some who's who and whatnot until we
No,
get
so I
that.
think I just need some guidance on what we can do.
And keep in mind that this information can be updated because they're all over town. So people can be added to it at any given point in time. And if you do get a chance, would you look and see if you're seeing submission, like somebody who submitted on that day and somebody who did last week?
Everything I saw was from the reception.
Okay. I may have to call and ask her how to share that setup, but I did ask her to make a couple of people, administrators also. Okay, cool. All right, moving on. All right, the 23rd, the Asian American and Pacific Islander event.
Mhm.
What we got? We ready?
We're ready. So, I believe that we already talked to Koi. We've got that taken care of. And we're gonna be showing the movie. We're gonna have the Zen Garden event for teens. So it's kind of like one group is the limited event with teens. That's one event. And then the other event is for everybody else who's around, who might be family members or just wanting to show up to watch Moana. So we've got that going on. And then we have the food and we're ready.
FYI, my next door neighbor is from Japan. She does origami.
Mhm.
And she said she'd love if you want her to come and teach how to do origami. And I said, if we don't make it this time, we'll do it next year.
Absolutely. We're always on the lookout for people who want to do programs. So No, she wasn't. That lady owns the new,
She don't do business,
Oh,
yeah, with Chamber of Commerce, that's how I met her. So anyway, but, she said, are we out, not interested in this time, but next time?
Yeah.
Okay, next time?
Yeah.
Okay, all
And
right,
we may more next summer event or stuff, we always looking for stuff like that. so.
okay, because she does special paper and all that kind of stuff, and she does it all over the state.
Cool.
And, anyway, okay,
We could also think about her for the art blast that we're doing next year for the teens.
Yep.
Out here, that would be, they like to do so.
cool, moving on. All right, so, now we're gonna talk about the depot. And huge good call on postponing the depot.
Yeah, okay.
After I finished the city council budget meeting, I went over there, and the whole time I was there, it was pouring down raining.
Mhm.
And I was also there hanging out with Luke, just in case anybody showed up, because they didn't get the message. Everybody did. Tara was really good about contacting everybody. She also asked them to give an FYI if they're gonna be coming to the 27th event. The event, the form for you to be able to go and register will be open till the 26th. And the depot has already purchased the, food that's already there. All we had was water and a half a container of sodas. I don't know why I thought we had more sodas than that.
we did, but I think we said that maybe they could help themselves, like, to people.
But yeah, on the end of the fridge, not on top. The top, yeah, it was like, it's one of those big, the big, what is it, 48 or 36, whatever, half of that is left. So I think we need to get some.
We need to
sodas.
find the storage place.
So well, nobody's gonna be in there now, and I went the other day and I moved it, I put it in the cabinet. Could I email you to go and purchase out of our budget?
No, don't go to Costco.
Some more sodas
Yeah.
for us. We got two big old containers of water, but I'm thinking like some Diet Cokes. There's regular Cokes, Diet Cokes.
How many would you say? Yeah, just put it in. the email.
I'll put an email to you, okay? Is everybody okay with that?
If we're gonna start with coffee, I mean, if we're going out to buy drinks now, can we do like coffee and, maybe donuts or bagel or just some, because we're asking the artists to be there so early to get started.
do we have a way of doing reimbursement? If one of us was to go and purchase their coffee and donuts
Isn't there donuts?
Well, you also, if feeling enterprising, might contact like Kyle Grind or Shipley's and say, would you be interested in donating for this event?
I can actually, yeah, we can do that, yeah, sure,
Because, you have a big Shipley's thing, it's like, oh, look, Shipley's, right? It's free advertising.
we could probably get Brooks Brothers, not Brooks Brothers, but what is it,
Dutch Bros?
Dutch Brothers? Yeah, she's actually been asking them to help out with some events that
Right,
would.
perfect.
She would do coffee. But
I
I'm-
don't know if- I know that staff can be reimbursed, but I
Okay.
don't know about that. I don't
Well,
know.
And the reason why I'm asking is because we have designated who was coming to work. We didn't actually put y'all guys on the schedule. So I wasn't expecting you to come,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So, it's kind of out of the scheme of duty for the most part. But if it's possible, could you get something like that and just drop it off and just pay for it and tell me to get it? I'll go pick it up.
Yeah, I'll find out if, you guys can be reimbursed, and if so, then maybe one of you could do it, but
Uh-huh.
if not, then I can do it.
Okay,
How's that?
okay. But I will contact, Dutch Brothers this week and ask them would they be interested in donating the coffee.
Because there's Dutch Brothers, Dunkin' Donuts, there's Starbucks, there's all these places that, if you shake them down, they might have,
Yeah.
local.
Well, I mean, who's got time to do that? I don't.
No, I just.
So that's great, but I got that kind of time right now. It's coming up pretty quick and I got some other things to do.
Do we know how many people originally signed up?
There were, was it 20?
The sign up's still there?
Yeah. I want to say 20 because, Tara had a sign-in thing and apparently Liz had one and they had to merge them. And they shouldn't have had two, should have been one. And I want to say it was maybe 20 people that had signed up. But we were expecting in the scheme of things that some people who were going to show up maybe can't make it now. But some people who couldn't make it then can make it now, which is why it's open to the 26th. So we still got the 30 spots open for, that's
And
what I'm thinking.
then if you want us to confirm times, I can come at 8 AM.
Okay,
pricing image.
yeah, okay, all right. So everybody, we still doing our same times that we signed up for the one we were gonna do on the 13th, for everybody, and then, we just need to we can work on the rest of the things. Okay, other thing that has come up is having a reception. Now, the idea is the paintings will be ready for Friday, June 2nd, so that they can be put in City Hall. That's when they're bringing their paintings, all right? All right, which means that following Monday, people will be able to come in and start looking at the paintings. The question was, since we had some refreshments left over from the reception, maybe having a reception for people in the evening time, for people to come in and look at the paintings, because they didn't get to do it from 9 to 5. And the idea of doing that would be June 16th. Reason why I say June 16th is there's also going to be a peace and progress dialogue that the city is doing on the 16th at 7 o'clock. And as talking with the communication, they were like, put more boots on the ground, having a reception to view the paintings at 6 o'clock that same day. So Peace and Progress starts at 7. We do a reception at 6 for people to come in and look at the paintings. And the depot said that they would be happy to be open from 6 to 7. So if people wanted to look at the paintings and walk across the street and go and look at the depot, they could do that. If we want to do that. So
Let's get that flyer together for the event, so that there's an event, or there's a flyer at the event, so everybody know, okay, there's a reception on this day. So the folks that are coming to paint on the 27th.
I'll get you, yeah,
So, like we did before, just a quick print out on the table. Sorry, my brain
I
is,
get you.
my brain's trying to process page 2 with the.
All right. So what did we find?
We found out that, in order to serve alcohol, we have to get a permit and you have to do it 30 days in advance.
Okay. All right, because Plan B was that we can have the refreshments over at the depot,
Yes, that would work.
right? So-
You don't need a permit.
Yeah, they're different. So, okay, all right, so we do the reception, people come into City Hall at 6 o'clock. They can look at the paintings and they can go across the street and visit the depot and they can get some refreshments and we can serve what we have left over.
And just, for ourselves, that in the future, if we want to serve wine or something,
We just
have
need to
to
go.
apply, it's on the Parks and Rec
Okay,
website.
Okay.
And it's
Yeah, I
just-
think since most of our stuff is always here, it's families, we never.
Right, but if we wanted to at City Hall, we can. It's not
Okay.
that we can't.
Yeah,
register
but we ain't got enough time for that.
Right,
So,
that's
okay,
the problem.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what y'all think? The 16th?
What day of the week is?
That's a Friday. Friday evening. Mhm. So 6 or 7 would be the reception. We'd have all the artists come. People could come in the evening and look at the paintings, and then they can walk across the street to the depot where they're gonna have some docents. And they said they'd be happy to do it, just give them a yay or nay. So we good?
Yep.
And we'll just set up the refreshments over there, okay? Okay. The other thing is the People's Choice Award. We were talking about, and we've already had this discussion, just to recap, we were gonna put a QR code on the pictures. People could come in, use their phone, vote for their favorite one. And then the ones with the top 3 votes from the citizens after the collection. And we are looking at having the paintings up for June and July. So people could come in. So there's actually things going on in June and July that the city's doing where people could pop in and go take a look at the paintings. And then we would then award the top 3 People's Choice with the most votes. We would have postcards made of those pictures.
So the artwork has to be in my 6-2, right?
So, yeah,
And then I would offer to have putting together the QR codes, but I'm gonna be out of town 6/1 to 6/10. And
okay,
they'll already be up by then, right?
yeah,
Because we need someone as they come in to.
tagging, that kind of thing like that, yeah, okay. Okay, I don't know how to do QR codes, but I've done it before, but not this, but I'll figure it out.
Well, you know what, I'll reach out to Liz and ask her what software she used to do it, so that we all.
I think I got the software, I've done it before, I've not done it like this.
QR code is, it's, you just have to do, if you Google a QR reader, there's websites that are just created, it's really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty easy.
Oh, I know Bitly is the one that does like URL shortening for like really long links. They also do QR codes, so there's a bunch.
Yeah, that's what I said, I've done it before, I've just not done it, because our thinking was that you would get a ballot, and it would have the number of the painting, right? And then you would click on the one you want, you get to vote one time, and then that goes into the collection.
The probably the easiest way to do like voting for that is you have the QR code that's just the event.
Mhm.
And it's got a list of the pieces,
Mhm.
right? So like you're saying, yeah, and so then you can just say, number one, yeah, like you're saying, and that way each picture doesn't have its own QR code. It's just the QR code for the
Right,
event.
that's what, yeah.
So you got it.
Talked about a QR code per picture, and I was like, no. We get a ballot, and if we got 30 paintings, all 30 of them on there, the only thing would be different is when you looked at painting, this one, it has number 6 on it.
Yeah.
So you knew which one to vote for. So we could easily make some little, labels or something, number 1, number 2, number 6,
Yeah,
et cetera.
you got it. You got it.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, moving on. The postcards, we're saying the top 3, with the most votes will get postcards. And this is something we would come out of our budget and actually have these postcards designed based on literally a picture of the painting. And they would be 3 postcards, and then we would give them out. We put some at City Hall, we put them at all the different venues here at the library. We, put them at the depot. They really want them to give out to visitors as they come in, and that would be like one of our little art things that we're just providing to everybody, a postcard, and really designed like a postcard. The picture on the front, on the other side, it has the 2 and the little space where you can write it, that sort of thing like that.
And at the very bottom, blurb is sponsored.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've done postcards, so I can easily make them, and then when the time comes, send them to you guys, so you can get a printer for us, basically, okay? All right, and moving on, Art Festival for September.
So I'll step in for that one.
Go ahead, but hold on, let me just say that I did ask Vicky to be co-chair along with Tara, because that's a lot of work, and
Mhm.
they can divvy out who's doing what, and then give us our marching orders, if everybody's okay with that. Okay,
So we've gone back and forth, we've not had an opportunity to meet, and the first time I'm seeing this, I think this is a mostly comprehensive that I would add, but what I'd like to do is meet with her, put together a itemized spreadsheet with every single thing we need, timeline that we needed, and I'm gonna ask people sitting in this room to sign up. I think we're all gonna need to take on a section. I don't think it's as simple as 1 or 2 people run it. I think that everybody, I mean, this runs from all of us, you know, so I think everybody, think about what it is you wanna do. You know, I think somebody could run just the volunteers alone and help strategize. I think that we may need to have some meetings in addition, and I need to know if we can do that. If we can have meetings specifically around organizing this event outside of,
As long as it's under 4, so if you
Okay.
had a committee of 3, you
so if Tara and I met with whoever was in charge of an event, we would keep it at 3. And we would be.
And Michael and I don't come to that.
Oh, yeah, so if we just came here and met here, then y'all can look it up. That might be.
all right,
Okay, so let's, you know, I need to put this off again until June because we're scary close, but I'll work and we'll put something together.
well, in addition to that, if you see something on here that you would like to be in charge of, go ahead and tell Vicky,
Yeah.
because that might, as she's working on what this thing is gonna look like, it's okay to go and have a meeting with a couple of people now,
So,
next week or week after, something like
you
that.
all see anything that you want, like volunteers or putting together, getting the art supplies?
Okay, well, it looks like Tara said that she will do artesian vendor area, and that she would do chalk artist and chalk art area. She's already identified those 2, that she'll do.
I like the security for police and such, because that part And it's like me having to go to council and ask potentially for stuff like that.
Okay,
So I'm okay.
okay, so
And then Parks and Recs volunteers, I mean, that whole thing I'm okay with.
okay, and I can kind of like second you on the volunteer section if you want.
That could be one standalone, but I can tell you, Colleen, they've already told us what they're gonna give us.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
They gave me the list of what they said they were gonna do already.
Okay.
Yeah, but Tara went in, she went in the meeting, at that point, last time we went over, but I know you already know. You know,
Yeah, so I'm still with helping with that.
I would say sooner rather than later, if you want more people to help, send out a call for volunteers.
Yeah.
Because
That's a good idea.
you're gonna want more help, right? So you've got your sergeants and whatever taking care of all the big picture stuff, but there'll be a lot of people who want to be involved, who want to help out.
what do you think?
I would say create a flyer and then start taking it places and put it online and probably send it to us to give to communications.
We have to secure that date. We have to get a
Yeah.
confirmation from PAC. That has always been my
Yep.
concern. I said every meeting that we have to have that before we can put anything on paper, so that's for
Yeah.
people to do something per se.
Now, let me ask you this, if I do a call for volunteers, one, they would have to come through first. They would have to come through our big, we don't have an email address. So how would they communicate, connect back with us?
Well, you'd have to do the same thing that Liz did with like a Google
That's
form.
what I'm thinking. Put together a Google form, people can sign up. And then we advertise the Google form.
But then we need to meet with everyone and then I'm limited by 4, right? Or no, because they're volunteers.
They're volunteers, that's different.
So I can coordinate everyone.
Yeah, you could email them. You could.
I don't want to do that.
Okay. Oh, okay, okay.
Well, then, but we could, so we could have a call of volunteers and have people sign up, but also have a meeting, say, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. I could ask you.
Yeah, and you could also create like a Gmail account that could be an email to use
Okay.
for the art festival, like.
Yeah.
Artfestival@gmail.com.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, we could totally host space if you wanted to meet with volunteers here, yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
So anytime that you have a date or anything, a time, just send us an email, we'll check the calendar and make sure.
You can sign me up to do sound system and rental. Because I can already start, working on some of this.
Michael, do you think you need to be?
I mean, yeah, anything that needs to get posted on a social media or any flyers, you send them to me and I will use our plug.
You help communicate with communication.
Yes.
So they do
Absolutely.
that.
If,
Yeah. they do
I'm
that.
like, I'm not PR, but I can talk to Rachel and they know that.
promotion for our commission.
I don't know. Okay, I'm not an organizer, so I mean, I could help somebody out doing something, but I wouldn't want to take on a whole segment. That'd be lots.
Okay. You want to take on
Huh?
the commission booth?
You do.
Yeah.
I think though that just looking at this, we probably should expand it to include all the commissions and invite all of the boards to be there. And the city stewards.
So with making like the magnet stickers, t-shirts, we would just like make the template or like the design and then send it to like
Autumn?
Colleen.
Autumn, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can sit down and talk about later. I'll give you some more things and then whatever your ideas.
Okay.
So that just leaves.
Was, the idea, did you hear what I was saying about parking security Parks and Recs, that's one thing, and then volunteers is a whole something different.
Yeah.
So that'd be like a number, we got a number 8, so it'd kind of be like a number 9.
Colleen said she would do that one as well.
The volunteer? Did you?
I think you meant Park and Rec.
Yeah.
Oh, the party ring.
That's what I thought.
Oh, I think
She said because she was doing the police anyway, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
You're
And
right.
like I said, Parks and Recs is done. They already told us. I'll send you the email of what they said they provided.
I'll take on all the volunteers.
Okay.
And then, probably the porta potty.
Yeah, because really, you don't want you want volunteers to just be extra bodies. So
Yes.
pointing people, answering questions, stuff like that.
And all of the details of what worked out and whatnot, that would need to be, somebody bigger like us or something of that nature. Because it looks like the only one we got up is, the food vendor thing.
So I can do that if somebody else will help me, or maybe 2 of the people will help me. Because that's a pretty big undertaking, to be honest.
Well,
That's like, I mean,
I
like,
do.
perfect. Anyone else? I mean, I think this is that's a big job.
The big thing I can say about that is there is an established list of food vendors that come and show up at everything, and the person who has that is Sheba over at Parks and Recs. Cause
And
that's,
I'm gonna look at that tomorrow.
yeah, and that's other thing. So one of the things I was thinking about is like, in our subdivision, every week we have a food vendor that comes to serve our subdivision. And we get an email saying such and such will be here Thursday at 5 to 7. And I was like, oh, wow, I need to have flyers. So when they come, I say, you know what about this is coming up? And give them a flyer so they know about it. Something like that.
So another thing that I don't see on here is I don't see trash cans, trash disposal.
That's Parks and Recs and they're covering it.
Okay, and they're covering tents too,
No.
so I don't see tents.
Well, you want to put tents under rental? I can cover that.
I think I did see tents with those.
There was tents under
It's
the
on the very first
promotional
one.
one.
Oh, it said tent needs.
I think there might be,
okay.
But
oh, yeah.
There is some somewhere else.
Yes, number
There's a second
6, it
different
says
Parks and Rec.
tents. It says borrow tents from Parks and Rec.
Okay,
I think under 6 it says.
Oh, I see it, okay. Parks and Recs doesn't lend out tents, they don't have tents to lend out. So the idea with that, it says check with Parks and Recs on borrowing tents for the artist area, we would have to rent them.
so why don't you move those underneath your sound system?
And that's what I'm saying, yeah, because I've already checked with 2 companies, one that Parks and Recs told me, and then another one that I knew of that did an event in Austin about the price of tents. So I can do tents under rental.
And I don't know how many you need until we start looking at the price of it, to determine,
Yeah, I know we need one for us, one big one. The Parks and Rec doesn't have any. If the city does one, they're gonna bring their own. So the idea is that people are bringing tents. I think I need some point of clarification about this idea of tents. We're providing the tent space for the artesian vendors, or everybody has to bring their own tent and set up?
so typically they bring their own tent.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we want a tent that provides shade and shelter for people that are gonna sit down to eat,
Okay,
because I don't know if I see tables on here for that.
remember we talked about having a tent for the chart art, they would be working underneath the tent.
No, they don't work in the tent.
Okay,
They work on those.
okay.
So everybody can walk around and see them. The other thing that is not on here, and I can just be ignorant to this, so with the security and everything, what about EMS? So we're expecting, when I originally talked to, police, they said for events like this, they look at between 200 and 400. So we're looking at between 200 and 400, and we also know that it's hot that time of year, different types of people there. Don't we need to have EMS on site? Because I know at the fair, they're going to, I know they expect a lot more, and it's a little more active.
Yeah, I think we have to get in touch with, the fire
That's the county,
department.
The county.
Yeah.
The emergency
And
EMS
it's-
people, yeah.
I think it's for San Marcos, that's.
Yeah.
Just our county, so yeah, I think we have to get in touch with them. I don't know. I think we'll go to, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And what I'll do tomorrow too is I'll go to the tents. No. Oh, Lord, that's fair. I'm gonna take it.
That's true. That's why we're going, because we're gonna be checking out stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And you'll be a VIP, so they'll listen to you, so.
Okey dokey, all right, so I think we're good to go for now until we have our next conversation next month, because this is moving up the agenda as we move in. We'll be having, next month is June. We're supposed to know June, a definite yes and a contract. It was supposed to be June,
So for June, can we put this at the top of the agenda?
absolutely. But we're
Because
getting close now.
we'll be past the 18th event and the reception, so we'll.
All right, so then we have Juneteenth event. This is quick and to the point. It's gonna be from 9 to 10 on June 10th. I would like for everybody to sign up to come to some part of that time. There's gonna be a program. We're basically providing the dance company, Parks and Recs are gonna be providing the cost for everything else. The program starts about 9:30 and it will be over by 12:30. Now, the event itself will be over at 2. So from 12:30 to 2, it's just gonna be music playing. And I would like for everybody to be there for at some point in time to be present as the Arts and Cultural Commission. I'm trying to put together just a little side project, a pop-up museum that's called the African American Experience, and I'm asking all my family and friends to donate pieces. We want to have 100 pieces of art from various forms in the Krug Center. It's also gonna be a cooling station, and it might be you wanna spend your 2 hours if you're gonna come work in that.
I'm planning to be in there, because we're gonna be selling raffle. So,
Oh,
we
okay,
got a little form,
got a little, okay, cool,
so I can be there
give me that,
all
okay,
day.
all right. So anyway, that's what's going on with that, not much we need to do, we submitted the invoice already. And I put together the program, how things are gonna run along with, Sheba. And, the next thing that's coming out from Parks is an actual flyer that's gonna have pictures of the various groups that are gonna be performing. I got the last pictures to them this morning, and that's pretty much it. How it's gonna work, so you're gonna be there at 9, be there at 9. The event start, the program starts at 9:30. So you don't have to be there earlier than that. And you need a place to sit, you can go sit in the pop-up museum that I'm desperately working on right now. So that's it. Okay, on the new business, we had. Okay, so 2 things. One of the things I heard over and over again from city council is this idea of having some kind of piece of art put up, right? We cannot do a mural right now, well, although there is one in the queue, right? There's a program, there's a timeline to do a mural for the new fitness center, but until they decide where the new fitness center is, that mural that we're gonna get credit for is not going up yet. And the timeline that we said put together, they scrapped it, they're gonna bring us here's a piece of concrete, new timeline, because we were going to, judge all of the entries, and then we were gonna go before city council with our top picks, for them to decide which one they want. So that's still in the queue. So my thinking was that in trying to get something up this year is, again, we look at a spot and focus on a piece of sculpture. Something that would go to city councilman to be as said, hey, would be a great place to put in a roundabout over there off of Buck Creek and Lehman Road, is we put some kind of sculpture that focus on the cow founders, or something that focus on farmers and agriculture. So that's a big agriculture area.
So
That could be a call.
I'm great with that. I think we need to do a call to arms. I
Yes,
think that's a great location because I think it incorporates making sure that we have different parts of Kyle involved. And there's already a lot of focus downtown, a lot of our events tend to skew here. So I think that's a great location. It's at the high school.
yes. The other one I had was over at the City Square Park. I thought the only little feedback we get from that is if we took a designated area, and there are several at the park, and we actually put up a permanent sculpture, it might interfere with what they try to do at Christmas time, because they would normally put such and such there, and now they can't anymore. So that was the other reason why I brought up the roundabout on the east side. it has a bush there, and then it's just gravel and dirt, and it's screaming something to go there. So I can come back to the next meeting with the guidelines for a call to artists, if you guys want to do that. And we can kind of go through it like we did the last time, the guidelines, the eligibility and all that kind of stuff. And,
And I would say, I think it needs to be quicker rather than longer. I think historically, we have a tendency for our action items to take too long to come to fruition. And I know at the end of the fiscal year coming, we probably just make sure that we get some done. So I would say if we come together in June, we open it in July and close it into August. That gives us 60 days for call artists, and then we can make our decision as a council or as a commission, and then go before the council in September.
okay, so I'll have a call to artists guidelines, and I'll have a timeline. Okay, at the next meeting, so we can move pretty much like we did the mural thing, for the most part, because I have a lot of, doing enough research for when we did that, I'm still on all that stuff.
I really good information.
All right, and that's that one we're gonna do with the 25,000, and I actually think we can have it up by September, to be truthful with you. So, okay. All right, the next one, the discussion on the art boxes, I know that is part of our new budget. So I want to table that for that discussion for now, and we'll go ahead and put it on the agenda for the next meeting. That way, if Brooke is here, she can, give us some more information, and we can talk about this as a whole, because this is a possibility in regards to, doing the three projects we're talking about. This is a possibility. We didn't make a true decision on if this was gonna happen. This is one of the things we want to talk about.
Are you gonna let her know that we tabled it, we're gonna discuss it the next one?
Yep.
Will you ask her to put a price on this? And
Okay.
there's some great details, and I love the visuals, but there's no price.
Gotcha. And price. Okay, and
Yeah.
then,
I was having a hard time visualizing what they look like, so this is really
It's
helpful.
cool.
Mhm.
It's, yeah, I love this. Wonderful.
yeah, and then, my big thing was maintenance and feasibility, but we can talk about that in. Yeah, okay, then, okay, so this next one, we need to talk about the land that I love. This is an actual project that is being done by, gosh, his name is Worley, and he is on the, what's the name of the show? It's like the home repair show, you know, the channel, home repair channel.
HGTV?
Yes, thank you, that's it, yes. This guy is on there, and so he submitted a email to, which I could have sworn I forwarded to everybody. His company submitted an email to the economics department sent it to the city manager sent it to Colleen. All in all, they said, give this to Arts and Cultural Commission to see if they're interested in doing something like this. So initially, they're putting together their shows across America to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. This series will actually be starting in 2026, but they're going to all of these small towns, and they're creating a puzzle of the town. So he comes in and he actually draws a picture that has components of the town. It is a puzzle that literally you can buy, and there's going to be like 50 of them. And so they thought Kyle would be a good place to actually be involved in this process. And if you think about some of those other projects where they go to cities and they do some particular project and everybody in the city is involved and that kind of thing, that's kind of what this is.
So do they want us to help coordinate it?
I think so. They want as well, with the initial discussion, I'm sure, as to what this would look like, how it would be, all those kind of things like
That's
that.
pretty cool.
And then move on from there.
It's not so hard. It's interesting. How it's gonna see that.
So, okay, with that in mind, Colleen, since you sent me the email, would you go ahead and send it back to Jerry or whoever it is? I don't remember if it's Jerry or Amber, one of them, and say, yes, we're interested. What's the next steps
Yes.
in doing something like this? We're very interested in doing this. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, we definitely want to do something like that. Just the idea of being one of those towns of being on this national TV show, that, again, every city that's involved will have a special puzzle made. I don't know how many pieces and that kind of thing. And then they have an event where they have everybody from the town come together at some big event, and then everybody's sitting at a table and you're doing puzzles. So there might be 100 different tables around in a field, and everybody comes that evening to do a puzzle. I can even see something where we do, the world's largest, Guinness Book of Records for the largest number of people that put together puzzles for the city, or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, with this idea, but when it all else fails, it makes me think of when Kyle had a Monopoly game that was out, very limited, not everybody got one. They were at Walmart, they went pretty quick, and I think they made 500 City of Kyle Monopoly boards. And so this will kind of be the same thing. Okay, all right, and I'll go ahead and be the point person on that, Colleen, for this, what's the next steps that we need to do, and, because they're talking, in the email, and like I said, if I didn't send it to you, I will, and talk about coming to the city, and not only him creating the puzzle, but filming various parts. You know, we're gonna have the amphitheater. They might come while we're having Pie in the Sky. They might come while we're doing our second art festival, those kinds of things. So they'll wanna know what the schedule is for the year and that kind of thing. So at what time will they particularly come? And then how can they get the bang for their buck in regards to interacting with the citizens, is how it goes. So anyway, it makes me think of when that guy used to go and rebuild somebody's house, right? And everybody shows up and the whole town is there, and then the people who've been at Disneyland show up in the limousine, all of a sudden they got a brand new house, and everybody in the city, because it was a small town, helped to redo that house. Something along those lines is what it sounds like.
Good old Ty Pennington.
So, yeah, him, I couldn't think of his name was. All right, so, that covers us, guys. City council meeting is on June 6th and June 20th. I'm always gonna tell you about them. Hopefully you'll go and just sit down and just kind of, see how they work and those kind of things. That next budget meeting is on July the 8th. They haven't changed it, have they? Okay,
Not yet,
okay.
but I'm sitting, new city manager.
I know, that's what I said, new city manager, yeah. So anyway, but we'll be ready for the next budget meeting. We just had our discussion here. And then our next meeting will be June the 15th. It'll be the day before we have the reception for the depot, which is the next day, that Friday. And we would have already have had Juneteenth, which would be on June the 10th. So a couple of different things going on between Butte and Pine in regards to Juneteenth. We're having like this big dynamic duo kind of thing going. Our event is on the 10th. There is the following Saturday on the 17th. And there's gonna be kind of things in between the both. So I've been talking to them pretty regularly about their Juneteenth event. I was a little bit bigger than theirs. And, anyway, it should be very interesting. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything else?
We'll be showing Princess Bride on the day after that June 15th meetings here at the library. So
So hope to see everybody next week, next Tuesday. And, remember, we're sponsoring at 6 o'clock, right? I was kind of coming like 5:30. Is that good? Because I told them to deliver the food at 5:30.
Yeah.
To help.
We'll be here.
And stuff. They're bringing forks. I have the napkins and the plates.
Okay, great.
And, I talked to them yesterday, because I thought I had forks, but we didn't have forks at the reception. We had plates and napkins, and I have a lot of those.
Okay, great.
So,
Okay, perfect.
it would get forwards.
okay, so hopefully see y'all there. Even you show up for a few minutes, get something to eat, there you go. Should be hopefully a lot of fun. I know that Commissioner, City Council, keep saying Commissioner, I don't know why. City Councilman Hauser is coming with his kids, as well as Johnny Flores, who's a new school board member. He's coming with his kids. We were all at a meeting together today, and I reminded them, and they were really excited. So they're spreading the word also about Tuesday night. So come eat some dinner and have a little culture in your life. And that is it. I want to go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right, and the meeting it is now 8:45. We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Great.
And again, the only thing that's coming from me, one, I'm gonna send you the email about the city thing. And then two, I'm going to clean this up for you and send it to you, so you can just see it for the next time.